Are New Zealand going to get their revenge for a 25-24 loss to Tonga in last year's Pacific Championships? You betcha. Look, I'm going to break down both of these teams' first performances in this year's Pac Champs and obviously give you my tips and predictions for Sunday's match at the iconic Eden Park Stadium in Auckland. Now, let's dive into it. Obviously backing the Kiwis to get up against Tonga, who looked extremely flat against Samoa. Look, they've got an extremely young halves pairing in Isaiah Katoa and Isaiah Yongi. And look, it just didn't hit the mark. They scored one try in the 79th minute in otherwise a very dull performance against Samoa. They had a few cracks at their line, but couldn't do enough to trouble Samoa. It was as simple as that. And then obviously they opened up with ease, you could almost say, for the Samoans and their halves. Look, a 34-6 loss doesn't bode well for them. Coming up against the Kiwis, who put in an extremely solid performance against Samoa, beating them with a 74th minute try to win 24-18 in the first match of this Pacific Championships. Now, it was a cracking game for New Zealand, who toughened up through the middle and also had the flair in the backline with, once again, Casey McLean scoring a double, making it 6 tries in 2 appearances for New Zealand. Look, the big positive also for the Kiwis was their goal line defense. Samoa actually had, I think it was 29 tackles inside their 20 for just 3 tries, while their attack was much more clinical, with just 16 tackles inside the Samoan 20 for 4 tries. Now, there was a lot of concerns about Dylan Brown and Kieran Foran being that halves partnership. Critical myself, but it overperformed, or performed extremely well is probably a better way to put it than overperformed. Kieran Foran did all the kicking. Dylan Brown ran at the line and was the creator. Brown scored a try himself, the match winner, and also set up 2 tries as well, while Kieran Foran was the calming head and played the experienced role and won the field position battle. So, where does this game lie? Where's the edge? What are the predictions and tips? Well, look, the lack of creativity from the Tongan attack against Samoa has me leaning towards the under on their team total of 16.5 points. Also, the strong goal line defense that New Zealand showed against Samoa also adds to that. So I like the under team total of 16.5 for Tonga. I also like the Kiwis to cover the 9.5 point handicap line. Purely, I think they're just going to eventually run away with this one, just like Samoa did, and Tonga just won't be able to score enough points to hang with them. And then, of course, you got to back Casey McLean, still getting 180, which is a surprise considering his phenomenal try scoring record for New Zealand, and obviously jumping on him for the first try scorer as well. So, there are your tips for this one. Don't forget, gamble responsibly, and happy punting.